if I talk for a bit, I'm realizing again what's coming back around is the weight of holding a belief. Popped back in this morning and I realized just how much shit I had picked up over the past 2 months maybe. Just shit is sticky, you know, and the mind starts to wander. Sometimes I put a lot of pressure on myself to record things, to say something that I think is meaningful or that will resonate with people, maybe resonate people. And then I end up not saying anything, you know, it just stays between me and one of my 15 journals. And that's fine too. It's not like anybody has to hear anything, but there's something about witness. There is something about just saying out loud the things that I say to myself, that I hear in myself, my own private little space. You know, that is important. There's just another level of exposure there that is like the completing of it, right? You know, you can come out to yourself, but it's not the same as coming out to other people. And you do the one first, right? You practice there, you have that revelation, that experience of awareness, something you learn, something you realize, and you admit it fully to yourself. But then living that in a visible way, exposing it to the world, that's another degree of vulnerability. And I do think this is what we're doing all the time, is shedding layers. I like the closet metaphor because it's a good visual for the shedding, for ultimately what we're doing is becoming naked as possible. And it's pretty likely that we're going to walk through a series of closets. We'll start with one and we'll think that one was it. This was, I was hiding a thing from myself, about myself, the nature of my being, something undeniable that I tried to deny, that I pretended wasn't there, and that was putting on this costume, this mask, this layer, performing this other role. And I'll come to the realization that I really can't do that anymore, that I've been denying the truth to myself for a long time, and I just don't have the energy to keep it up. The good feeling of security, the artificial sort of safety that piece of clothing provided me when interacting with the world, it's no longer satisfying something. And now the dissatisfaction of inauthenticity is greater than the artificial sort of satisfaction of supposed security. And I would rather give that up than keep denying myself. So that happens. And then one day we find ourselves in another closet and go, how the hell did I get here? I thought I stripped this stuff away, and we realized there's another layer. There's more here that I didn't see. I discarded that piece of clothing, but there was another one. I thought I had reached skin. Well, surely this time that'll be it. And we strip off another piece, and this process continues. And we go through closet after closet, shedding more and more pieces of what we thought was ourself, realizing that all of these components are just characters. We shifted from one identity to another, and that one was closer. There was a little more transparency. There was a little patch of skin showing. But we can get more vulnerable. We can get more real. And ultimately, what we're desiring is to be nakedly the self. Pure, natural being, the awareness that is aware of itself. And yet it still very much has a sense of personal space. In other words, you don't just become lost as a self in the whole, in the totality of self. There is still a sort of individuated awareness. Of specific presence that is only yours, even as that awareness is shared with and intermingling with the presence of all of the other self. I did have this feeling the other day. It's difficult to recall right now. But for a few minutes, it made so much sense, and it seemed so clear and obvious and easy to feel myself as part of a sort of communal being, and to recognize the different layers of individuation, not hierarchy, but like becoming bigger. The groupings, where one is not above another, but it was like being a cell, recognizing that it is in direct connection and communication and community with other cells, and the reason that this community of cells exists is because these are individuals who have shared interest, shared desire. We are united by the mutuality of our natural desires. And so one cell that has an interest in moving this direction finds itself with other cells that have the same interest. And so, of course, they start moving together because that's what they were doing already. This is what each one of them is individually interested in. But those interests dovetail and harmonize in such an effortless, beautiful way that they become a sort of collective tide. What was, one drop unites with other drops and becomes a tide, but none of those drops disappear. And then there can be felt this sort of collective sense of self that is us, but it doesn't override the personal sense of self. In fact, it emerges from it. It's just like a further expression. I had the sense of myself sort of like in this community of like-oriented selves. Maybe just like selves, but selves with just like interest, like desire. On the same wavelength, experiencing the world, wanting the same things out of experiencing. Devoted to truth, passionate about freedom, aware of freedom, interested in harmony and in observing the ways that all things naturally harmonize just by being themselves, by singing their own song, that which sounds the best, feels the best to that individual. For that individual to be authentic in their expression, they fit seamlessly, perfectly into the whole of the song. And it's so satisfying to witness that and experience it. And I had felt some time ago, some years ago now, that the only thing that is necessary is for me to be authentically myself, right? And that's true for everyone. That is the truth, that the only thing that is necessary is to be authentically you. And even that is not like necessary in some sort of, if you don't do it, all hell breaks loose kind of way. It's just, this is what feels good. This is the only thing that we really need to do to feel good and want to do to feel good. And it's not even really a doing, it's a putting down of all the other shit, right? What feels the best is to be naked, is to be you without anything on top of that, because there is nothing that can be added to you. It can only cover you up. It can't be added or subtracted. Ultimately, it doesn't detract from you either, but it does hide you. And the more hidden you are, the less aware of your own radiance, of your own value, your own perfection, your own security and well-being. So to strip off those layers is to become more aware of your own security and well-being, to become more aware of the satisfaction of yourself, and to realize more deeply that nothing can be added to you and nothing needs to be added to you, because all of the juicy stuff is already there. Your light is so bright. Just let it shine. Just let yourself be fully aware of yourself, fully experiencing yourself. That is satisfaction and security and well-being that is felt, that is experienced, and there is no comparison. There is no well-being that trumps that, security that trumps that. It's perfect, it's complete. And it is satisfying. In that experience, you are satisfied. And all we can do is cover that up. So it's just a matter of continuously stripping down. And when we find that there are more layers than we thought, or maybe we've put another layer back on and hadn't even realized it. You know, the fear spiked again. There was a surge, and compulsively we covered something. And it's just a matter of taking some deep breaths, letting your arms down, letting yourself relax again. It's just learning to relax. Anyway, I recognized this morning that I had started believing things again, and that none of those beliefs were comfortable. None of them felt good to carry, and I realized that it's not possible for me to carry a belief. Because a belief is a rigid thing, you know? It's a weight. And because I can't carry belief, that means I have to create a false self, a character who can. And now I'm expending all of this energy and effort creating an identity that isn't me, to live in a reality that isn't real, to carry a belief. And all of it is tension. It's pushing against. It's allowed. It's more than allowed, obviously, but it's hard, it's heavy, it's exhausting, it's not sustainable, it doesn't feel good. And when I just set that belief down, in that moment of seeing this again, going, oh yeah, I'm doing that thing again, I'm carrying a belief, which means I'm telling a lie, I'm creating a false reality, and a false self to exist in that false reality, and now I've got this whole load that I am carrying. When I saw that, it was like the bubble of belief just popped, and I felt the relief and the weightlessness of just not carrying a belief. It's not about picking an opposite one. That one has just as much weight to it. It's about setting them all down, setting every belief down, not picking up the burden of belief, which is a constraint, and allowing myself to just be open. To say, I don't know. And in saying, I don't know, I'm acknowledging anything is possible. And I'm doing so in a way that is not, I'm not picking a belief. It's an acknowledgement of what is true. And there really can't be any further detail added to it beyond that point. And if I try, if the mind tries to go into some sort of detail and to convert that experience into belief, it gets heavy again. And the denser the weight of that belief, the denser that reality, the denser that false self has to be to sustain. And it feels like living on what's a planet with higher gravity than ours? Is Venus higher gravity? I can't remember. It feels like the gravity just keeps turning up and it's crushing. And eventually I can't carry it anymore, and this has happened over and over. When I can't carry it, it slips from my hands, and then, what do you know, I feel light again. And I laugh and go, what the fuck was I doing again? I did it again. It's okay. I'll keep picking that shit up and putting it down until, it sticks. But I don't have to do that. Maybe sometimes it's just for fun, to remember what it feels like to be so burdened, to feel so weighty, and then feel the relief of, that's right, I can just drop that. And to let it go and to feel that bubble just burst, and recognize again how light I am allowed to be. How light I really am, how light I truly am. And that I can feel that when I just put the armor down, put the burden down, the weight of carrying a belief and creating a false self that is dense enough to carry something. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm already late for work, but there's other stuff I would like to say. I guess I'll just briefly add that I feel strongly, and this has been true for a while, that we're being asked to just sit the fuck down, right? This has been true for a while. It's been true for a few years, but it is increasing. We're being asked to sit the fuck down. It's opening. It's not open yet. Sit down. It's coming. It's not here yet. Sit the fuck down. There isn't anything to do. You've done all the things. It looks like nothing is moving. But everything is. It is all shifting. The place that is for you to move into isn't open yet. It doesn't exist yet here. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, that it's not in progress, that it isn't imminently and immediately coming and going to be visible to you in a way that is undeniable. You're not going to miss it. You can't miss it. You literally can't miss it. Your water that feels like it's clogged up at a dam, right? When that opening happens, you won't miss it. The same way water doesn't miss squirting through a hole that opens up in a dammed area, right? Like, it just goes there. There's no, oh, I didn't realize there was an opening now and now I can move. Water doesn't do that. You don't do that. You, life, energy, which just flows into the opening. The opening is on its way. It's connecting. All that there is for you to do is to be where you are. Sit the fuck down. This is what I have been repeatedly, told. It's not quite the right word. What has been shared repeatedly. I know it seems like it's taking a long time. But it's all happening the right way. You don't want to be over there before it's time to be over there. You want this thing to be done and then to enter into it fully. I'm just saying what is coming to me as I'm feeling this. You are being prepared as much as this is being prepared. And it doesn't have to look like anything. You don't have to have, there's no, it's not going to look the way that you think that it looks. But everything is being adjusted, calibrated, just so. So that when the connecting happens, when these wires are finally brought together, it is more electrifying and exciting than any of us can possibly imagine. So just be here. Be where you are. Be authentically yourself. Keep practicing relaxing. It is a practice. Every time there's panic, it's the opportunity to relax again. And in the relaxation, there's the opportunity to relax more deeply, because you can always go deeper. So no matter where you're at in this, there's opportunity for relaxation. Panic is opportunity. Relaxation is opportunity for greater depth. It's always there. Not missing anything. You can just put down the beliefs and remain open. That's it. I love you. Take it easy.